Hello and welcome to Wikipedia Weekly Network. Here we're Albin Larsson and I, Jan Ainali, are editing Wikidata live. How are you doing, Albin?
I'm doing great. How are you, Jan?
I'm great. I'm having a little bit trouble with my videos, intros here, but we're live and kicking.
Right.
So tonight here in Europe, where we are, we're going to switch to daylight savings time, and with that on mind, we thought, well, let's do things about time. I don't think we will specifically be looking at daylight savings time, but we have some sort of time theme. What are you planning to do?
I'm revisiting a query that we actually made on this show about a year ago, a little bit over a year ago in episode 36. And we made a calendar over like upcoming event or awareness days and things like that, which we have used a couple of times to find topics to talk about. And I want to revisit that query because it's quite a long query and it's super nice. I was thinking like a year later, let's see if anything can be improved or if we can edit any data based on it. What are you thinking about, Jan?
I'm going to take a look a little bit about things with start and end dates, which can be tricky, and see what you can do to solve those tricky, and then perhaps ask the community, hey, do we want to have it tricky like this or not? So
right.
That's sort of
a bit of modeling questions, so to say.
Yeah, yes. Yeah. And sort of with a starting point, like how are people using the qualifiers today? Like this is what a state is, and we can work with it, but it might not be the most obvious way.
Right.
Yeah. And I think I'll start sharing my screen here. But there we go. So I'm gonna just make a simple little query here today. What I'm gonna try to do is to ask Wikidata to give me these 12 ministries from the Netherlands. So our goal is to produce a query in Wikidata which has this list. So we know exactly what the result we want to get. I also happen to know that all of these are in Wikidata. And the question is, how can we query for them to get them? And that's not as straightforward as you might think it would be. So let's start with going back here, and I'm starting with a query here. Like just writing select is a good way to start anything when you want to make a query, and then use Control spacebar to give this little autocomplete. And I'm going to use the third option here. That's sort of my favorite, and it's going to be very useful today. So it gives me the item label. I'm going to change this one immediately to NL, because that's Dutch. It's going to be easier to compare with the official list, so we know what we have. And then I want query for the item, and it's going to be an instance of something. And I think it's called in English Ministry of the Netherlands. Let's see if we can find it. Of the Netherlands. There we have it. And let's just start there and see what we get. So we know we want 12. And when I run this query, it's quite quick because it's a simple query. It gives me 43 results. And of course, ministries are things that change over time. Various governments want some of these. So most of these are probably old. And so we have to do some sort of filtering or something like that. And in this particular case, I like to start with just doing the minus, because that just removes stuff. And it can be also a very efficient way to do it. So I'll start with the minus here. I wanted to minus all the items. And I want to go if they have been replaced by something, then they are probably not in use anymore. So let's start with that. And I don't care about the value, so I'll just do it with this. And let's see how much we narrow it down. One. Okay, we'll have to keep adding. So we'll minus the same thing here, and I'll do it as a new minus because I want them separately if they have any of these. I don't want them. And another thing that is good is the opposite of inception date, which is now escaping me. I wonder if I can write it in Swedish here and see if we dissolved date. That's the one I want. Yes, very nice autocomplete here. It doesn't even care what language I write in. That's super handy, especially when you get confused like I am and forgetting all the English. All right, this should hopefully get us a few more. 17, getting close. All right, and then we could perhaps go for there's another one that is sort of indirect. It's similar to replaced, and like if it's followed by something, then it's usually also replaced. And here's if we were stricter and having like better modeling all over the place, would be less of a guessing game. Let's try followed by. That sort of implies there's something else in place. And we are at 17. And let's see, where do we go now? 16, we got one more. All right. So only 4 left to go. We could also try end date. And that's end time, not end date. It's more generic than just dates, really. I think practically it's only dates for now. We don't have any times yet. So let's see where we go now. Oh no, a little bit too many. 11, we should have 12. Can we easily see which one we're missing now? So if I ordered, is this official list in some sort of order? This looks to be alphabetical. So I'll go here and I'll do a order by item label. We'll get them alphabetically as well, so we can easier see. And here's our list of the first one were there. Seems like we look missing this one, the land bow. Yes, that one is missing. Let's have a look at if we can find this one in Wikidata. And I'll just open another one here to get to Wikidata, and I'll search for this one and see if we can figure out from the actual item why it's not here. So search, there we go. See if we get any hits. Very slow today, my browser. There we have something. I'm gonna change this. Let's go here first. I'm gonna change the interface to English as well and zoom in a little bit so that you can see. So up here, I guess it needs to load a few of my JavaScripts. There we go. I guess. Huh? No. Things loading. There, in English. So it'll be easier for you to see what kind of statements we have here. I'm going to zoom in once, twice, perhaps. Good enough. There we go. That's a good view. So we have an instance of, we have an inception date. Ooh, we have an end time. That's why it's not here. Aha. So here's the tricky one. And a little bit where I wanted to come as well. Oh. And hello, Andra. So we have a start time of 1935, and then I guess it stopped in 2010, and then started again in 2017. So we're filtering it out now with the end time. And really, we want that not to be the case. So we'll have to figure out a way to, since this one is later than this one, to include it anyway in our query. So one of the beautiful parts here with the minus things is that if you add more things within these curly brackets, that's sort of applied to the same minus. So if I add like another thing here, it's going to be needed that as well, which means that we can be a little bit not tricky here. We can use that to make another minus within the minus. So we'll say we want everything with an end date, but some of these we don't want to remove from our end. So it's going to be a cutout from the cutout and allow it to come through. And I guess technically, Albin, you might correct me if I'm wrong, you could go very deep with level in this if the modeling is particularly, like there's nothing in the system
There's
that
nothing blocking
prevents
you.
you. No.
Yeah.
Hopefully we don't have too many cases where we actually need it, but it might be good to know that you can actually do this. You can sort of carve and massage your minuses to fit what you really want.
I imagine there is some limits to it actually, because you could technically like create a loop.
Yeah.
If an item links to the same item multiple times.
I mean, you can probably time out very easily. Indeed. Or get into other troubles. But as long as you're sort of like Andra says the limits provided by your CPU. Well, not technically your CPU, but the server we run this on, I guess.
Indeed.
So now what I want to add in here. So I want to, if the item start date, I want it to be in here. Now, let's try this and see if it works. Now, if everyone that had an end date has a start date, it shouldn't be any. Then we should get a lot too many again. So let's see if what this gives. So we're at 11 here, and let's run this and see what we get. Now we actually get 12. Did we get our Landbau? We did. All right. So this one sort of helped us because there was no other ministry that failed us when we had this poor minus. And now we're going to change it up a little bit. Instead of doing a ministry of the Netherlands, let's change this to Federal Ministry of Russia. No, that's not. Federal. No, I don't remember what the item was. I want the Federal Ministry of Russia. What was there? We have it. Federal Ministry in Russia, not of. And now we're gonna see here the trick. So let me run this first, see where we're at. And while this comes to 19, I'm gonna check in quickly in the gov directory where what we want to be at. Yes, so we want to be at 21. So we're missing 2. And what we can do then in here is, instead of, and what we actually should do, is comparing the start dates and end dates and see if they're too big or small. To compare, we actually have to name this to something. So we'll have this, call this start. Did I jump there? And then we'll look for the item with P582. Call this end. And then we'll filter here. Now we want to have where there's a start that is bigger than the end. Then we know that it started again. Let's see if that's going to be the case. Let's try this. So hopefully now we're going to get a few more than 19 because we're making a bigger carve out from this minus. We didn't. Still 19. What am I missing? Start, and I'm naming them the right things. Aha. I now see it. So, and here's another thing: we don't have consistent modeling over over the ministries. So we don't use the start date and end date. We use inception date and what was the other one? Dissolve date. So we gonna change here. We'll remove this one again. We'll do this one too. 6. This should be inception, which is P571. And this is 76. Now let's see. We have a dissolve date, but a start date with bigger than date. All right. We should call that. Now we got 20. Still missing 1 though. Why is that? Maybe it's because it's the followed by here. It could technically have a followed And then let's see if I do it like this. There we go. So very inconsistently modeled here over the different countries. We're using start date, end date, or dissolve date and inception date. And here I fell in my own trap because, of course, when they start and end and then start again, there's something following it in between. It could also be that they were replaced by here. Looks as or messes it up for us. So let's get back a little bit and take a look at the item that were this. I'm gonna just remove this for a while so we can find what we had. Now this should be 19 again or 20. I'm gonna see which one is going back and forth. That is too many. Do you have an easy way to compare to result sets? If I have one with 20, other than exporting it somewhere else.
Yeah, that would be a super neat little tool where you just paste one sparkle query on one side and a variation of it on the other side, and it just rendered the same list downwards.
Yeah. Or highlighted what we had in both.
Yeah, now you're locked into one window, but otherwise the trick would be to split your window into two and have them next to each other.
Yes, if I share my entire screen, I could do that.
Yeah.
Let me just do that, because that might be very...
it might be an interesting thing to show.
Yeah. So, and then I'll share again here. Share my screen. I can't share my entire screen because my my computer won't allow me to.
Right.
That's not very helpful today, computer. I'm longing for the upgrade for... I'm not sure it's going to solve it, but I'm hopeful that Ubuntu 22.04 will do something.
Right.
We're not that far away.
Okay, we keep that on the back burner.
Yes, we'll keep that on the back burner. Let's see if we can quickly see here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 down to L in this query. And then I'll just duplicate this. There we go. There. And remove this part. And run it.
I think you got a wing too many.
Did I?
Or no, maybe not. Oh yes, you got one too many. Yeah.
One too many there. Very slow before that error came around.
Indeed.
9, so it's the first half.
Okay, let's memorize. Oh, we don't need to. You have it directly here. Are they in the same order?
I think so.
Okay.
It's the healthcare one. All right. So let's check the healthcare and see how it looks. If we can fix anything here. So this is going to be with the... All right, so we have 2 inception dates. And then we probably have a dissolve date in between. Where is the dissolve date? Why are they not next to each other? That would be very helpful.
Oh, indeed, if they were ranked, so... I think that can be fixed. I think there is some ranking to it.
Yes, there's some sort of ordering on these. And it doesn't make sense to put this far away from the other one. Yeah. So it's easy for a human to see this and understand. Like, all right, yes, it starts in 92, it ends in 1994, and then 2012 it starts again. And as you can see, it's quite tricky for us to query for it. It's possible, and it's also doubly quickly because here we use in the Russian ministries we're using inception and dissolved, and in the Dutch we're using start date and end date. So we should really get our modeling straight here all over to use at least the start. I don't know which one we should use, but we should use the one of them.
Yeah.
And then the other question is, do we want it to be like this? I'm not sure. I think here we also get a single best value constraint.
Yeah.
So we should only have one which is the best. Now we don't even have one preferred. Should the recent one be preferred?
I don't think any of
Yes.
them should be preferred in this case. It's like they are both equally, in my opinion. However, I am of the opinion that is it the same item? Question mark.
That's a
Or,
really good question.
and maybe both this potential issue and just the modeling in general should be solved by saying that it's not the same item. It's not the same ministry that has been like created once again. It's actually a new one.
Yes.
Because they are 20 years apart.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder how much of it like is the same, so to say. Sure, they share name and maybe a couple of other things, but are they the
Yeah.
same?
That's a very good question. Like, I think that often it might be that they are not the same things, but I think we'll also find items where there actually are the same. Like,
Yeah.
they have the same logo, they have the same ID in whatever country they are. So we even when we like even if we prefer to split them into separate items because that's probably more common, we need to handle the cases, and perhaps this is the only way we can handle it for now. But I'm not happy with it.
Indeed.
Yeah. Yeah, and since I don't have any other solution myself right now, I'm not going to edit this because I can work around this for now. But if someone has uh, any ideas or thoughts about this, they're very welcome. And I guess with that, I'm gonna call it a day for now. I will share since someone was asking, I will share the query here in the chat. But I'll do that while handing over to you. So if you want to try it
Right.
out, you can
So,
see my queries.
so a little over a year ago, we created a query for receiving upcoming events, or essentially upcoming uh, commemorations or awareness days. And it's this query. It's 45 lines long, and it has been great. I have ended up using it every now and then, and it just receives upcoming things. So, for example, the first thing it receives here is today. The next thing would be on Sunday, tomorrow, and so on. And it just skips events prior to this, and I think it runs to the end of the year actually. And we have used this on the show to find things to, for example, talk about and such. And because it has been so useful and is a great example query in general, I believe, I want to revisit it and see if we can improve it somehow. Or maybe if we can edit some of the data in and improve upon that. So first, let's see what's going on here. We're selecting a bunch of things. We are combining subject labels. So essentially, if I scroll down here, some events might have multiple subjects, and we just combine them into a comma-separated list. We got what a programmer would call a map here, where we actually have like the number of the month and its items, so we can actually translate in between them. The values called days here are the various types of days we're interested in, like Awareness Day, which we then use to select things that are instance of or subclass of those two types. We do minus here for National Day, as that's very specific and generally not something that we would talk about here. Then we select day in year for periodic occurrence, which, if I remember correct, is just the day between 1 and 365. And we got that day usually got the part of month and so on. So we kind of try to figure out, okay, we know which day it is in the year, but what date is it on? And that's what we are trying to compute here. I think we still got a bit of an issue with like leap years. We don't take that into account. So when that is about the corner, we probably need to look into that. It's complex enough without it. We're building like a string here for the date. Then we select the subject, and we also select this very related one for things that are celebrated, which is generally the preferred one for all of this. However, it's not as common as the subject one. So we need to select both of them. Then labels for both subject and event. And that's kind of it. And it results in this. But going back to it, something actually a new feature of the Wikidata query service since we created this is the title we can set. So that's the first thing I want to do. I want to add a title. We couldn't do that a year ago, so I want to celebrate that we can do that. And the title means that when we have been running the query, it will add the title up here. So if you have a lot of query tabs open, you can kind of see what it's about rather than it just saying Wikidata query service. As well as it will show in like a bar here when we run it. So let's see, what could be a upcoming awareness days. Maybe that's just it.
Yeah.
And if I run it, we can see it in action. When it's done, it will say upcoming awareness days. Should that be 1 or 2 M?
Just one.
It looks odd. It looked odd. Then we're fixing that. So that's one like new feature and one change I want to do. And I was kind of hoping that we could actually get rid of this main subject because most would be migrated. So I think we should like go ahead and try to improve upon a few of the items and see what they look like. So let's start here with Forest Week, which I imagine starts today then. It ends, I imagine. Oh, this is interesting.
Oddly modeled.
Indeed. So it says Awareness Day, but it's actually an Awareness Week, technically, with a start and like end, I imagine. This is a special case. Let's skip that one. April's Fool's Day. That should have a... Maybe that's not... Maybe that one should actually have a main subject. April Fools. Which I imagine has an item on its own, so to say. It has part or parts, and it got a yoke. Maybe that's... Or does the day itself have it? Maybe not.
That's very
Again,
interesting.
a very interesting case. We got a start date for that one. That's interesting.
Mm.
Oh, I see another query related to this one. Give me the oldest ones.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Maybe I will leave this one too. It didn't have any of the main
It could sort
subject
of
or
be like main subject prank. I don't know.
indeed something like that. We got something here without a label. I want to open that just to see if I can add a label. National Security Education Day. That's interesting if nothing else.
You
So
got a direct question here. Why is there that different from April Fool's Day? We didn't look at it, but I guess that's sort of like an album or music or something like
yeah,
this. Has the same thing, but it's not the same thing.
most likely it's something named after the day. Um, let's see. This says absolutely nothing. Or it says things, but not enough for me. It's a
I,
subclass of Awareness Day observances, and it just got in Korean. I can't really.
if you look at all entered languages, are there some we can see? Ah, only Korean.
No. Okay, I'm gonna skip that one. I don't want to sit here try to figure it out from translation. National Security Education Day in China. Here we got the main subject. Um, and this is an education day. Maybe that's actually main subject as well. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
I'm wrong here and we can't actually get away from the main subject. What a place, monument, or holiday. Oh, no,
Commemorate. Yeah.
shouldn't really be in scope then. Okay, let's continue and see what we can do. Maybe we move on to some bit more generic. Um, Evacuation day. I think counter column could be useful here. I want to pick one of those to see what that could be. Independence Day is always interesting because I think I saw something here the other day where we got like an Independence Day next to each other on the same day. But it actually happens to be two countries which share Independence Day. It's not that uncommon for historical reasons. Um, International Tea Day. Tea, let's see what that uses. That
Mm-hmm.
should probably use the later rather than main subject. Another one of those Korean ones. Let's see, Sierra Leone. Let's see, does it use main subject? It does. That one we can actually change. So let me go up and pick out the property number because, and I should be able to move this one. Is that it? Let's see. To the same entity property. I'm using an old version. Right, okay.
Yeah, it's now available as a gadget.
Oh, it's a gadget. That's
Yes.
excellent. It's a great. It was a great user script. It's now a great gadget.
Yes.
Highly recommend it. Okay, so if I reload this, it should be moved. There we go. It doesn't really help me with improving the query, but maybe we should just try add the counter as well to see if we get anything interesting. I'm imagining we could also get like duplicates because some might have multiple countries, like Scandinavian specific days might have Sweden, Norway, Denmark, and so on. But I want to see what's going on. So
Mm-hmm.
where would this make sense? Maybe down here actually. And I use event pdt country 17 and I want to select it as country, and I want to group it by country as well. Lot of variables in this query, and I want to have a label for the country. Here we go. RDFS label country label, and
No,
I need to
no.
select.
Can you explain why you do it there, not in the top?
That's a solid question.
Is it because of the group concat?
Which?
You have a group contact in the select. Does it already need to know it to be able to do it?
Yeah, so it's for the group, it's for this part here, for the subject label. And because I'm doing it for the subject label, I need to do it for all of them, I believe.
Yeah.
And it's because I am merging the subject labels with commas. So if there, here's an example, Towel Day got main subject order one, and it's Douglas Adams, comma, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And that's why I wouldn't be able to concat them like that if I hadn't selected. And I just care about the country label here rather than bad aggregate.
Yes.
Yes, I'm selecting the label, but that's much quicker error message than yours when you had a bad query.
I think my computer was a little bit slow, so there was errors like in my client rendering it.
Oh, so this is interesting because, for example, Forest Week previously sounded very generic, but now we can see that it's Turkey. Then we can see that it's like removed a lot of ones. So a change I want to do already is to set this to optional.
Ah, yes. Yeah, the global ones probably don't have a country.
Indeed. And some of them got very odd countries I remember from last time, like
yes.
Earth or something like that. Let's see. There we go.
Right,
the number is back. Yeah. So we can see we got a bunch here without country. I think we considered for a while like using a minus for those with countries, but some of them are still very relevant and rather broad. So this is great for the Independence Day. They actually give us more information here. More South Korea, and it also allows me to like, okay, this is South Korea, and we have a lot of them without labels. It allows me to think like,
if you scroll up a little bit, we can also probably here see there's the Republic Day Nepal. Should it have a Nepal country?
Indeed. And here we got the National Day of Healing. It's National Day, so it should probably have a country as well. Let's have a look at those. National Day of Healing. Do we have
you have an English article?
We have an English Day, National Sorry Day. Australia, observed by Australia.
All right.
What does that mean? Right, it's the mistreatment for the indigenous people. That explains it. But Australia, it is. Other countries probably have similar days, but this one appears to be specific. There we go. And should we guess this one is Nepal?
That sounds possible.
A national holiday of Nepal, day of creation of the Federal Democratic Republic of Nepal. 2009 start time. So I'm not even gonna go to English Wikipedia for it.
And they didn't have any.
It didn't have any. So I couldn't have.
It does have a reference though, that's good.
Indeed. So that's nice. Then we got those two. I kind of like the addition of countries. I think that's a permanent change from now on.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't start disbelieving that. One change I want to do, and which is, I still want to see like the labels first because those are more relevant to me usually.
Mm-hmm.
And we can kind of control the order here by moving it in the select order. So I'm gonna do that just to see it jump from one point to the other. So I'm gonna run this again. Sorry, servers. And it just move it to the end,
Yes,
which makes it a little bit easier for me, I would argue.
I like it.
Let's see. What more do we got?
I think we had this question before when we tried to do the polar bear day. We wanted to state that it was worldwide. We didn't figure out how to do it, and I haven't figured out it either. So, but if anyone who's watching have an idea, I think that would be a nice thing to be able to add to the items that are global.
Can I spell that? No, I can't spell it, but it's P. No, it's P571 maybe.
No,
No, that's Inception. Okay, I don't know it by head.
47.
47. Here we go. That's it. Dear.
Andra says country no value, but I'm thinking it's sort of the opposite, country all values.
Yeah, no value is an improvement over the many solutions I have seen, I would argue. Indeed. I think that's one solution we got. Let's see, here it says world. Let's see if it got something. No, that one does not have anything, right?
Do we want to put anything commemorates on that? World Autism Day?
No, I'm lost here in the... Yeah, I'm surprised that it didn't have any. I feel like I have added it here in the past.
Did someone remove it?
I actually have a small void. I was once adding this to a similar item, and because it was in like a topic like this, someone just removed it as spam because they probably didn't read like the item and you saw my edit. But it might have been a different item. It very likely was a different item. And it was P547. Yes. There we go. And that one we added. I'm doing with... Here we got UFO.
We have two UFOs. Do they have two dates?
We have two UFOs.
The 24th of June and then one in July.
And one in July. Indeed. Let's see. It's the same item. But with different dates. Is it a week? Let's see. We
that looks
have 2
strange.
days. It looks strange. Let's have... They got a website. Let's check it out. Maybe it changed. So it used to be one of them.
Yeah.
But then we can actually use the...
Prefer one of them.
Yeah. So here it says second. So I'm thinking that we will add this as the source. And upvote the second one.
Yes.
So preferred rank, And
I
a
also
reference.
like your calling it upvote.
Yeah, I preferred rank. Changing
Yes.
the rank is what we do.
Yeah.
Upwards, yeah,
It explains it well.
indeed. And today it's
I
26.
picked the wrong one.
Oh, yes, I picked a
Click
very
it
much
in.
wrong one. What?
You want the retrieve date.
Here we go. And today it's 2022. It's the third month and it's 26th. Indeed. Then let's publish it.
Nice.
I think that's a solution. Great catch there. Here we go. That's Belarus. Maybe
Ketikoti sounds Finnish.
that could potentially be Finnish. Let's have a look.
Could be something else as well, but
No, not Finnish.
very different. Well, it's not Finnish.
But we can still add a country.
Yeah.
Oh, it says
It has
Netherlands as well.
location. Interesting.
Let's see. It says Netherlands as well. Let's have a look at the Wikipedia article. We can add more than one country always.
Yes. Andra knows here.
Right, yeah. But for the day, where is it celebrated? I imagine it's celebrated then both in the Netherlands and Suriname.
Yeah, or commemorated, yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So countries should actually be
both.
Be both.
But is the place right? Or location? Or should they be moved to a country?
I don't think they are wrong.
Add country as well?
Yeah, I'm thinking at least add country as well because it still adds something to queries and such.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of information duplication like this, but that fight is kind of lost when it comes to Wikidata.
Yes,
sorry.
but usually we use location for things smaller than country.
Yeah, when we don't have anything else. That indeed. Maybe we should move it then.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's move it. It's wiki, as we say. And it's P17. And move claim, I can use them. And which one did I move now? No, I guess it's gonna
load it. Andrew also has a suggestion for an improvement, changing Netherlands to the Kingdom of Netherlands because it's probably also on the Dutch Antilles.
Indeed. Do we use that the same in, I think we do in country?
I think so.
Yeah.
Like it's a super
country.
Yes, a superset.
Here we go. Right. That's an improvement. However, now is one of those cases where we would get it duplicated. But I can live with that for something like that. Here we got Independence Days, the same day in two different countries.
Is that something we want to filter out? Independence Days? Is that sort of same as?
Yeah, indeed, it's something we want to filter out. Do they have a common like?
That's a good question.
Yeah, they do.
All right.
Independence Day. That's easy enough. So we do filter out some. So let's just continue on that. I want to do like that, have it a bit cleaner. But where is our filtering minus here? What's that?
Line 24.
Indeed. So I'm just gonna duplicate that assembly. So if it's an instance of VD Independence Day, oh, I can't do that. Oh, I got that's not something you can autocomplete.
There are too many Independence Days.
Or maybe if I do like that. I think that should be it.
No.
Let's try it. You don't think so? Let's go to an Independence Day.
Because it didn't remove the day thing. You still have the day there.
That's at least one. Let's see. Oh, I still got the day there. Indeed. Independent. I just got independence.
Yeah.
There we go. I would like this to make the query slightly faster. We got a lot less. And yeah, indeed, I like that. Republic Day could be something related. Yeah. I like this improvement to the query.
Mm-hmm.
Still got a lot of things to add when it comes to awareness days, but this is great improvement. Let's. Oh, this is one of those long ones.
Do
But we
you have a
actually,
page on a wiki?
indeed, it's also a new thing since last year. I got a dedicated
user colon.
Oh. There we go, because I'm collecting some of my favorite queries we do on this show here. Also because they tend to get a little easier to share when we got long ones like this one. But in general, I think we asked for like feedback, and something people asked about was to have some of the queries shared somewhere. So that's what I'm trying at least to do here. And here's another great trick, the SparkQL template on Wikidata. One can just wrap one's entire query like this. Let's see which is which. Here it ends. And that will automatically format it as SparkQL. It will add a link to run it, and so on. So here we go. Oh, that's not it. That's how I do it. Publish changes. Let's preview it. That. And you got a link there.
Yes, that's
so this is what
page.
this great template does. It make sure it looks nice like this, as well as adds a link. I'm not sure you can actually use this link because it would be a very long one. You can. It's just a link shortener, that's the limit. That's super neat. So there you go. That's the query. And with that, I think that was it from me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we got a tip here.
Yes, there's another template as well called Sparkle
Lists
2.
Properties on items. I'm just gonna try.
See what happens.
Exactly, see what happens. Publish changes. Show preview. Oh.
Very
it tells
interesting.
all the items I use.
Advanced.
That's interesting. And it gives me links to Squid, which I'm not sure
Mm-hmm.
we have shown here. Resonator, I think we have shown.
Yeah, I don't think we have shown Squid either. No, we also got a line count on there.
Oh, that's nice. Um,
I like that. It's a little bit
I like it
bulky,
as
but yeah.
I like it as well. I'm not sure I'm gonna use it here. Maybe I will because you would be allowed to search for things.
Mm-hmm.
I will review because then I would add it for all of them anyway. So for now, I'm gonna leave it. But that's a new one for me. I can definitely see many use cases for that one. Right. And with that, I think we got all.
All right. So a little bit of perhaps more with the dates than time, but that's also sort of time, but a larger scale. And of course, this is the date for daylight savings time.
Indeed.
Uh,
So next week we see you in a different hour in a way.
yes, for us, but
Yeah.
maybe not for. Well, I guess others will be affected by us changing in the hours as well. So even if you're
Oh,
US and
indeed.
already in daylight savings time, like so, yeah, it's weird. Uh, we don't have any theme yet for next week, so if you have any ideas, you can still reach out to us and suggest things. We're always happy to bring something up.
Yeah. Or if you have an idea from a previous episode which you would like us to revisit, just like kind of I did today, that's also a great thing that we do every now and then.
Yeah. And until next week, happy editing.
Happy editing.